Oh, I didn't realize we were live. I didn't realize we're live. Did it go live? Okay. Goodness gracious. Okay. It looked like it wasn't going to go live. I was trying to figure out what the heck was going on. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, doers. Welcome to the morning dew for certified doers just like you. I want to express gratitude for you deciding to spend this morning with me. I'm so happy to be here with you. Um, Even in the sign of times that we are in, I'm so grateful to be here with you. Listen, I'm saying, look, it is almost 7:15, or at least that's what I think. That's what the clock says. Let me get my phone what it says. Can you get an excuse note for being late because you was petting your dog? Something was happening to my mental health this morning. I mean, just petting my dog was such a serene thing, and he's actually laying right here on the floor by me, which he usually doesn't do. Good morning, Mr. Little. Good morning, Brian. Yo, today I want to pack a punch. I really do. I want to let's get into some things, all right? Because there's a lot going on, and I do want to redirect, and I also want to tap in with you. I will start by saying this. Last week at the dinner table, so it had to be like last Thursday or Friday, right? I have, many of you know, like my mom lives here, my niece, my daughter, my son's off to college. But my mom's out of town, and so it was just my niece and my daughter and my husband, and I said, like, we need to have a serious, like, y'all, we need to have a serious conversation. And I started to talk to them about like the government shutdown, like what it will mean for this household. And I'm explaining it, and I could see my spouse's face. He's just like, here she go, because everybody get in the classroom, here she goes, she about to make us sit here, and not in a bad way, but just like, I don't think if you're affected by what's happening, you're ever really ready for that conversation. But it was time to have that conversation, and I'm explaining it to them, y'all. And you could see like the glaze of like, oh shit, like this is serious in their eyes. But immediately they went to jokes. Well, at least I think my niece just went to a joke. Like somebody went to like crack a joke or something like that, and was just like, it was an eerie feeling. And then my spouse says to me, he was like, that is how they're coping. You can tell. He's like, they are just coping. I just felt a thump in my chest about, here we go again. For me, this happened in Trump 1.0. My husband had a good government job lined up, and then it was snatched from all of us, and he ended up unemployed for about a year because he had retired from the military, was going in to be an air traffic controller. They snatched it up, so he didn't get that job, and we were roughing it for about a year. I'm better prepared this time around, but just don't want to go through that. But here we go. What we do know is that this is real for a lot of us, right? Including members in the General Assembly who are working and watching a federal fight that we cannot directly control. And while we're doing everything we can to build, to sort of blunt the impact that it has on Virginia, it is hard. And I know that it's hard for you. Like the not being paid is not a joke. The dodging the habit it just gets real. So I just want to underline with that like you all, I come here to educate, advocate, celebrate, and legislate. I'm also trying to live just like you. And I want you to know that, because I think we've done a really bad job at humanizing politics. Like while I hold a title, I still have to operate in this world. And sometimes that is why you all are so important to this work. Sometimes my life gets heavy on me, and it gets difficult for me to make decisions, right? A lot of people didn't know last year my mom had a stroke, and it was like crazy. Was it last year? Yeah, we're a year out. Yeah, like it was the wildest thing. It was hard. It was difficult to hold it together. And I know that I am not the only one going through things. I only say these things to bring you all in, right? To get you all to understand, like, we are living. I want us to sound off in the chat. Can y'all do this for me? Sound off in chat. Where are you at? What's in your cup? What's the most surprising thing you heard about the shutdown? I want to keep it keep it factual, but drop what you got. Like, here's a vibe check. If you're a federal worker or you live with one, or contractor to drop it in the chat. If your household is impacted, drop it in the chat. If it's no direct hit to you, but you care and you're going to stay informed, drop it in the chat. Like, I want you all to understand that there's a collective resistance that has to happen with this shutdown, and we are going through it. While y'all drop in the chat whether or not you are affected or your household is impacted, or there's no direct effect to you on the shutdown, but you want to stay informed, go ahead and do that. Give me that thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle. While you do that, and I'm going to make it a poll. I'm going to try to make it a poll just so that y'all can sort of, throughout throughout this time that we get together, be able to sort of, yeah, let's get it. Let's see if it'll let it. But there we go. Let me talk plain with y'all, because I know sometimes people don't necessarily understand what's going on. I'm going to talk plain, and then I'm going to go to the so what, now what, because that's what we got to get to, the so what, now what, of like what we got to do. Do not hesitate to drop things in the chat. Okay, so a government shutdown, it happens when Congress fails, when Congress doesn't pass and the president does not sign our spending law. So, or our appropriations, and appropriations, that's essentially saying our money, right? Spending laws to fund the day-to-day operations by the start of the new fiscal year. A new fiscal year, means money, is October 1st for these United States. So our federal government is on a fiscal year calendar of October 1st, while our state and local governments are on a fiscal calendar of July 1st. That's why all our bills are enacted in July. Your city budget, the state budget goes into effect July 1. So the federal fiscal calendar is October 1st. When that money, the money authority lapse, agencies have to stop spending for a limited time, except for very limited and legally allowed activities. So there's things they're allowed to spend for, but not everything. The law behind it is called the Anti-Deficiency Act. Once you say that, the anti-deficiency, it basically says if there are no appropriations made, right, they haven't voted, no spending, right? No appropriations equals no spending. And there are, again, some narrow exceptions for like protecting life and property, for activities needed to wind down operations safely. And there are two flavors of shutdowns. And I think we've been through one of them, or not sure. So two flavors. There's a full shutdown, which is where almost all the agencies are impacted. And then there are partial shutdowns, which is more common, where only agencies without current funding bills are impacted. So you do have like people like, oh, military people, no military people. Yes. Like, so certain funds are still appropriated out further. So certain agencies may already have their funding spent out or allocated or appropriated, so they'll be fine. So what keeps us going? There are things that are funded by mandatory spending, right? Mandatory spending, like Social Security and some Medicare benefits, they generally continue, but services that rely on annual appropriations may slow down. Okay. And let me ask you this: what services do you think might be mandatory or annual? Right, like, you know, there's a lot of guesses here. I'm looking in the chat. Spirit said, doesn't affect me, but I do care and want to stay informed. I'm here with you. Yeah. Tall Girl says we're affected. Yeah, I hear you. And you are not alone, Tall Girl Jess. You are not alone, Tall Girl Jess. You are not alone. Daniel says, I'm so grateful I retired when I did. I've been hearing that a lot from folks, that they're just like, I thank God I got out. And then he's also like, luckily not directly impacted. I'm a DOD contractor who still does training aboard ships. I care about these sailors who are busting their asses, knowing that they may not get the next paycheck. Absolutely. Yep. Good morning, Miss Sue. That's real. That's real. And because this is real life. Now there is like, so the word furlough has been thrown around, and I'm like, let me explain furlough. What does it actually mean? Furlough is like temporary unpaid leave because your agency can't legally pay you. You are still employed, but you are not getting a check during this phase. Does that make sense? So furlough, there are two buckets of furlough for federal employees during a shutdown. They're accepted. Often those are the people that we call essential employees who work to protect life and property and the functions that are necessary to keep the lights on. Think about like air traffic control, right? My husband's an accepted or an essential employee, many law enforcement roles, healthcare, some public safety, certain IT and security. They have to work. They have no choice. They have to work without pay until funding resumes. So that's accepted furlough or essential. When you hear essential, think accepted. These are people that don't even have a choice. They got to get up, take their asses to work and not get paid or just not have a job. Okay. And then there are non-accepted. These are the people during a furlough who are told you cannot work. They are furloughed, no work, no pay until the shutdowns end. So just remember, furlough is when you're on a temporary unpaid leave because the agency cannot legally pay you, right? Cannot legally pay you. So question, how do you find out if you're working under a furlough? It depends. Your employer should be able to tell you. They should tell you, hey, you're going to be furloughed. One way or another, they should be able to tell you, the employer or whomever. If someone else is asking, am I furloughed? You should know. And if you don't know, you should be asking either your supervisor or director or whoever it is that is over you. Now there is back pay, right? Since 2019, Congress is required to back pay for federal employees who after the shutdown ends. Contractors like custodial, cafeteria guards, they are not guaranteed back pay. It really depends on their contract. So there are people who may not even make this money up. I'm just putting that in perspective. And that is one of the hardest parts, right? One of the hardest parts. The real life impact is that delayed bills, borrowing, tapping into savings, calling lenders for hardship plans, visiting food banks that are not necessarily in the distribution business anymore, and the financial stress and uncertainty. Like, I'm navigating furlough. I made calls September, when I realized we were not going anywhere, September 29th, I was making calls to folks like, hey, I'm just preemptively trying to figure out what our resources are. My family is probably covered for 2 to 3 months of a shutdown. But after that, it's going to get real. It's going to get real. So really, really, really trying to make sure that we get some resources and things out to y'all is going to be important to people, because from the chat, I hear either you're affected, you personally are affected, someone or your household is affected, or you care, right? And as doers, this is why it's important that we have information on background. Daniel said, especially since the SecDef, SecNav are coming here Friday to celebrate the Navy while the government is shut down, totally disconnected from deck plate leaders, sailors. Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. I remember being in the military and not getting paid because somebody messed up my pay. It's not fun. It's not fun. It's not fun at all. Blessed Cindy J says, normally government contractors are affected unless their mission is essential or crucial. Absolutely. Right. There are some, that's the difference. You're absolutely hitting on the fact of the accepted and non-accepted, or essential and non-essential. Those are two different banks of people that are affected. I talked about the fiscal year and planning. So this all matters because timing mismatches can create crunches. So I want to talk about the calendar. I'm not going to talk about the calendar. So what stays open, what slows down? Here's the high level. In general, this is a general primer based on how shutdowns typically work. Specifically, agency plans vary from year to year. Benefits that typically stay open, Social Security, Medicare, benefits usually continue mandatory funding, but in this case, I don't believe that's the case. Customer claims are going to be slower. Military services have to report to duty. Their pay is delayed until funding resumes unless Congress separately authorizes pay, because I believe that has happened. They have to separately do that. Aviation, law enforcement, passport, DESIA, national, some of these things are mixed. Because of why because of the way things are happening now, I just want you all to feel what I'm feeling. There is a difference between an administration and a regime, right? An administration is because we talk to people saying the Trump administration, the Trump administration, the Trump administration. There's a difference, right? The word administration is a neutral term for a team that's currently running the executive branch, the president, their appointed official agencies with constitutional processes. Now, a regime is a heavier word. It is in academic use, it is a form of government, a democratic regime, authoritarian regime. In political writing, calling the government a regime, it signals the illegitimacy or authoritarian behavior. Words matter. If you hear regime, because I believe this is the Trump regime, it's describing a governing style or behavior that is centralizing power, ignoring checks, pushing dissent, or firing up emotions, all of which show discourse. So we're operating under a group of people who are not an administration. They are a regime. And how did we get here? The big picture with this regime, and I sat down and I read the mandate for leadership. I didn't get to read the whole thing, but I read the sections that mattered most to me, right? The mandate for leadership, or Project 2025. This is real, right? And for better or for worse, I think we as Americans, our exceptionalism is in some ways preventing us to sitting, not all of us, preventing some to sit with the realness of what is happening, because we do have an exceptionalism complex and we're just better. We just got it better. We're going to get it together. Remember, we were in a crazy ass conflict with each other before the New Deal. But the big picture is, when we talk about the shutdown as it juxtaposed up against regimes, shutdowns are about power and priorities. Who sets them, how the money matches them, what lines Congress and the White House draw. So this is a pivotal point in what and how this regime operates. Typically, the sticking points are overall spending caps, policy riders like the healthcare provisions, immigration, border, energy, environment, oversight, conviction. There are lots of negotiating tools in a shutdown. There could be a full year, like a 1 year appropriation bills, resolutions, sidecar bills, like separate bills that'll pay the troops but not do anything else, and oversight or accountability provisions that shape how funds can be used. So like there are a lot of tools that they can use, but here's the thing: is two truths can actually sit together. People's paychecks and public services are immediately on the line. Number one, we know this. Let's be clear. And number two, there are structural fights about the balance of power that we need to be dealing right now. Congress's purse versus executive action that face our democracy. These are two truths that we have to sit with right now, right? People's paychecks and our services, and the fact that we are essentially looking at a pivotal point in our American history during our lifetime, because there have been many pivotal points. Remember, I told y'all, we got to get closer to history to understand that there's not a need to panic, but there is a need to act. I want you to name an issue area that you actually think is core to the shutdown. Drop it in the chat. And if you can drop why, do it. Source it if you can. What do you think is actually a core issue of the shutdown right now, right? And if you can put why, drop that in the chat. What's a core issue for you? Put it in the chat. You all, and if you have threads or you have articles or have things that you think other doers need to be reading, drop them in the chat. We've got to do more than skim headlines at this point. We've got to verify, we've got to get details, we've got to move forward. Because, in my role, right, drop it in the chat. In my role, it's educate, advocate, celebrate, legislate. That's what we're about. And here's what I need you to understand on the educational piece. Congress has to pass 12 appropriation bills or resolutions to keep agencies funded. This is a fact. Without that, the Anti-Deficiency Act forces agencies to stop spending or narrow their exceptions. We are there. Federal employees, accepted versus furlough, back pay guarantees for some employees. After that lapse ends, contractors, people are not, they're no guaranteed. We know that the fiscal year, right? Understand that October 1, if you learn anything, know that the money years matter, right? Between state and local government. Here's where the advocacy, here's what we can do right now, nonpartisan and practical. If you are impacted, contact your lenders, contact your landlords early for hardship options. Check employee assistance programs. If you know anybody, look for community mutual aid. If there are food bank resources, keep receipts. Please keep receipts and document hours if you're instructed to work unpaid. So if you're one of those people that you got to work, you got to make sure that you got to keep it at the forefront of what you're doing. If you're not impacted, but you want to help, then here's what you do. You got to do that donation piece, do that mutual aid, check on your neighbors, share verified resources. Be patient with service delays if there are things, and because people are working without pay. You may be calling somewhere where someone is working without pay. Okay, that is our advocacy piece. Celebrate our resilience and each other. Right? Let's shout out to the federal and contracted families holding it down, to the community organizations that are stepping up, to the supervisors who communicate clearly, to the coworkers who share tips and watch each other's back. We have to celebrate that because we are in this together. And remember, I'm saying this is a big deal. This is not, it's bigger. This work is bigger than just Medicare, Medicaid. Like it's bigger than that, right? Remember I said two truths. We can hold two truths, that people and paychecks and paychecks and public services are on the line immediately, but also there are structural fights that we have to galvanize over about the balance of power, about Congress's purse versus executive action. We are also, not only are we shaping people's lives, we're shaping the future of this democratic republic with this shutdown. Because remember, when it all boils down to it, who are we? We are the United States, the United. And I'm going to underscore the United States. Remember that. When they say whose house, that's the way you need to be saying it. We are the United States. We will get through this. It will take time, but we cannot forget that we are in a structural fight along with the fight for people and public services. Okay. I see you all saying people's money, food assistance. Khalil said housing assistance. Bless Cindy. Cindy says the VA benefits are affected. Received a letter yesterday. Medical insurance assistance. All of this. Absolutely. I'm looking. All of it is affected. You're absolutely right. All of it. Same here. I give VA benefits that if taken away, that's part of the reason why I'm able to do this job, is because I have another small stream of income that helps out my household for, quite frankly, things that happened to me while I was on active duty. We have to legislate. We can't pass the federal, you and we cannot pass the federal budget. Like, we can't do that. As your state representative, I cannot pass the federal budget, nor can I take many actions on it, right? But here's what we can do, right? We can coordinate with agencies and locals to spot service gaps early, right? That is where you can't come in. If there's a gap somewhere, or you find somebody filling a gap, you got to be a doer that screams it from the rooftop. You can share resource hubs for impacted workers, for small businesses, because that's when we talk about what holds our cities and things together. A lot of times it is the small businesses. Share resources. Remember? Right? You're living life. I'm living life. We can explore state level flexibilities where allowed, licensing deadlines, programs grace. What we did last year in the General Assembly was added federal workers to protections for when things like this happen, right? We saw it looming before and made a plan for it. So there are limited things we can do and keep what I can do is keep constituent casework lines open to help you navigate federal agencies once things are ramped back up, right? I want to know from you, because again, you're seeing life differently. What resource or workaround do you wish someone had before a shutdown? Because we got to start crowdsourcing. I would love to start crowdsourcing a list to be able to give the folks. I believe I saw in my email no, it wasn't Congressman Scott. I think it was Senator Tim Kaine put out a list of resources for government agencies or during a shutdown. So we'll share that as well. But for you, if you're affected what would you want? Let's name the bigger space. Spirit in one eye. I'm with you on this, way bigger. There are bigger stakes too, right? After we crowdsource this list, we do the things that doers should do. Let's name it. Democratic norms matter, y'all. These norms, checks and balances matter. Congress's power of the purse matters. Oversight, independent oversight, the rule of law matter when any administration, right, left, or center, tests those limits, essentially claiming powers to move or ignore appropriated funds, punishing independent watchdogs, silencing inconvenient agency. It is on all of us to pay attention. Right? There is healthy skepticism does not equal cynicism. We can disagree on policy. I don't give a shit where you stand, left, right, or center. We can always disagree on policy and still agree on process. Do you understand? We can always disagree on policy and still agree on process. Budgets should be lawful. They should not only be lawful, they should be transparent, and debated to the open, right? To the open. They should be debated in the open, right? No one person should hold the purse. That is why we give the power of the purse. And I hope y'all understand that the Congress has the power. They handle the money. The executive branch don't handle the monies, okay? I think what I need all of us to do is understand what is our non-negotiables in this. What part of democracy or this constitutional democratic republic is non-negotiable for you? Like what protection, what process protection is non-negotiable? I want you to think about that. You can drop it in the chat if you want to, but I want you to really think about, name one process protection that you think is non-negotiable in this constitutional democratic republic. Which one? What do you think is non-negotiable? And drop it in the chat. And then I want you to think about what is happening to that thing. The thing for me right now is my personal perspective on authoritarian risk, because that's where we're at, is I don't want to normalize anything of what's happening, you all, because it is not normal. It is not normal. It's not healthy. It's not the way that we build. We can disagree on policy, but we can still agree on the process by which we do things, right? Here's what I want to do is give you, drop it in the chat. What's that one protection for you that we think that we still, that is absolutely essential for us? Number one, Congress always gets paid during the shutdown. These are some myths and fact-ish. Member pay is set by constitutional statute and doesn't automatically stop. Some donate or escrow the pay, but the paycheck isn't the same as their paycheck isn't same as staff pay. All right, Social Security stops. That's a myth. Benefits continue. Some of them slow. Some of the services slow. Myth. Federal employees do after the lapse. Contractors usually do less contracts to cover it. You can work if you're furloughed, you just don't get paid, right? That's the risk. Furloughed employees generally are, most furloughed employees are generally prohibited from working, right? Remember we talked about essential, non-essential, accepted, non-accepted. Your tools, your plan, right? I need us to really get in a space where we are speaking to the realities of incomes, right? What stop, what can you continues, making sure that you're speaking truth and not just headlines. Triage your bills if you're affected, and it's okay to try to get folks to have that real conversation with you. I had a real conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and it was hard. Making sure that some of the folks that are not going to get paid have a food and medicine plan, right? That was a thing. I didn't realize last time we got furloughed, I had a neighbor that was like, I can't get my medicine. I can't get my medicine. And that was real. Mental health is huge in this, y'all, because the other day we were doing something and I realized like I was adding stress to my spouse's already full head. I didn't realize it was October 1st. This was actually, I didn't realize that it was September 30th. Nope, it was yesterday morning. It didn't hit me that it was the first day of the shutdown, and I'm doing like normal stuff. Like I'm up here like, hey, do I do this, and he just like, look, I cannot take on any other stuff. And I was just like, this is regular stuff, like mental health is a huge portion on this. There are some civic nonpartisan House and Senate members need to read their public statement. Send them your statements of how this is affecting you. If you have not already, you got to send your stuff to some of these politicians and let them know how you're affected, right? Need to know. 3, need to know, right? That is an absolute need to know. Have a plan. I'm just saying that and loop into us for any support you might need, because I'm going to tell you again, this is more than a fight about healthcare, y'all. It is much more than just something about whether or not people get healthcare, and we cannot lose sight of that, because this regime has no interest in debating that, has no interest in supporting that. They've shown us they don't give a flying F, okay? This is about power, people, and paychecks, right? Do not forget that what's at stake for us. Bless says medical care and veteran care shouldn't lapse. Yep. Fit to 40 says everyone should get paid regardless, especially if Congress does. I get you. Khalil says if the government shut down, will inflation on groceries or gas still rise? That's a good question. That's a great question. That I don't know that those two things are connected, but I'll have to look. My brain's on processing a little. I also have but I don't. I think that it will be a challenge. It will be a challenge for people to pay for those things, right? Some of those prices are not necessarily controlled by whether or not our government is fully operating. So I guess my answer to that would be it depends. It's about controlling the people. You're absolutely right. Spirit in one, like it is. There are 3 equal branches of government. I'm with you, Daniel. Absolutely. I'm going to bring it back. Okay. Listen, right now, and I know it's a little running behind time. We are laughing to keep from crying, and we can do that. We were, right? We can do that. But then we got a plan, y'all. We got a plan, and that's the way it is today. There is reality, there is a plan, and there is community. And I mean that is the way I look at it. There is my reality, and you can internalize this. There is my plan, and there's my community. All of those things are necessary to get through this, but we've got to have a collective dissent for some of this BS. We cannot, I want you to understand this. Like, I want you to really, really, really understand this. We cannot control the federal calendar, but we can control our preparation. There's a big ass election coming up next year. We have to take the U.S. House back, right? We cannot control that federal calendar, but we can control our preparation. We have to get ready. Meaning, if you have not already voted right now in Virginia, because remember how important states are to your quality of life. You need to get it done, and you need to get people are not excited about voting. And I've actually met a lot of people that just don't give a care. You got to be a part of getting them to the Greek. You have to. We cannot print money, but we can protect each other. If I could print money, would be every, if I could print money, we'd be in a different space. We cannot, but we can protect each other. This is why it's so important to get that resource list together, to have the honest conversation, because it is embarrassing. It is shameful. Like, even though I'm in a place where it's like, all right, I think I got 2 months. I think I can hold it down. I could probably hold it down for 2 months. I think. Actually, I know 2 months I can hold it down. That's embarrassing to say. I don't want to be in that because, life says you should have 6 months worth of emergency funds. I got 2 or 3. Yeah, that's what I got. I got 2 or 3. That's it. That is why I know that, like I'm too looking at how I'm going to use resources to make sure that we're in a decent place. We don't have to agree on every policy because I know it's some people that don't agree with me on things and some things I don't agree with you. That's just a fact. But we can agree that the process, we can agree on process and on people's dignity. Can we agree on that? And that's when y'all are having those conversations with folks. It's like, look, I don't have to agree, but that process and dignity, are those not important things? Are you not trying to take care of people? Here's your homework, doers. Are y'all ready? I want you to share one verified resource in the chat if you've got one, or on your page. You're going to take the time. I don't care if it's a story, if it's a quick post, share one verified resource. Check on one person that you know might be impacted. That means if you got to go look in the mirror and check in with yourself, do it. Do it. This is real. This is about your job and these United States. All right. Write down the top 3 bills, your top 3 bills, and who you're going to call when your money stops. Right. Your top 3 bills, if you're affected, the top 3 bills, and who you're going to call when the money stops. Right. We got to get people planning because this is real. This is real. I want to also just underscore the fact that I'm so sad right now. So sad right now that this is about more than just healthcare. I know you're going to read the news, and I know you're going to hear the Dems at the federal level saying this is about healthcare. This is about healthcare. This is about healthcare. This is about more than just healthcare. Okay. There is a regime. Remember, I told you the difference between an administration and regime. We are in an authoritarian creep. This is a ripe time. We can win or lose based off of how we handle this government shutdown. And Spirited One, about controlling the people. Housing, I love this. I'm reading the chat. How housing assistance programs don't get funded. Coach Cam, welcome, Coach Cam. What does building a stronger community look like through these, what does stronger ability look like through these times? This is it. What I just said, this is what building a stronger community looks like. It is about being able to have that hard conversation. Like I told you, I had a friend of mine call me yesterday, and I was shocked that they told me what they told me. And I had to honestly say, I am so grateful that you let me know and you asked for help. Because I'm not always in a position to help. Right? We have to be proactive about finding the folks that we know are affected, tapping in with them, Coach Cam. Okay. Like that is a thing. Find someone and then do that thing. What are your top 3 bills? And when the money stop running, who we going to call? And it ain't the Ghostbusters. So if we're looking for some resources, that's where we come in, doers. And that's why I ask if any of you all have resources that are verified, drop them in the chat. Spirit in One says, I heard for people because they are getting richer. Yep. And committing all kinds of crimes while making people poor. And that's real. See, the thing about what we've seen, right? This is not what's happening right now is again walking towards an authoritarian regime. And I think I'm wondering if I did share that with you all, what that means, because I think that's an important piece of like understanding what is authoritarianism, why it's important, right? This regime is illegitimate what they're doing. There are not very few qualified people. This behavior, the centralizing of power, this is what's happening, y'all. They're centralizing power. They're ignoring the checks and balances that make our Constitution, democratic republic what it is. And they're punishing dissent, right? Firing on most emotions, right? On emotions. And it's hard to watch. But that is where that not everybody's going to unite over healthcare. That's why I'm saying we can disagree on what policy is most important. We can disagree on even within our own party. It ain't even got to be across the aisle disagreeing. Like we internally, can disagree. Doesn't matter, right, left, right, center. We can disagree, but we can agree that people, process and dignity, these things matter, right? That's right. I love that. Print money. Fit for 40 say print money in the stock market. That's what I do. Yeah. How can Dems win the House? I'm not even sure. David, this is from David James. How can Dems win in the House? I'm not even sure what we're offering anymore. Trump ain't bad. Trump is bad, ain't working. What is the identity of the party? That is real. That's something that I like, to have been a person who's now on the inside, just struggling with, where do I find the overlap? Where do I see myself in the party? And then how do we allow people to have their fullness? Because it almost feels like, um, we unfortunately allowed ourselves to be put into a culture war. All right. Like we allowed it to, that we did hone in on the culture side of things and not the realities of people's lives. So David James, I would also say back to you with that question is like, when you have such a big tent, what do you, is it an identity or is it policy, right? Like, I wish that we talked more about how what we do affects people's everyday lives, right? Like, and that this is not about hate. This is about making sure that we don't lose sight of, and I'm going to say the cheesy ass American dream, but we don't lose sight of that, because I can tell you my son's generation has. They accept each other, right? Like for whom they are. At the top of their mind is not, it's not bathrooms. It's not, it is gun, legislation. It's like, there are these things, but I think we trapped ourselves in a space where there is no identity, because we're picking and choosing which identities get the highest voice, and not identifying them, no matter what your identity is, when you don't, when you can't find childcare, when you can't, when groceries are high, when the world is not operating in a way that allows you to exist, with a decent quality of life, is a problem, and stick in there. That is where I think the party has to essentially reframe, or redirect, or put their moral compass on making a space good for everyone, and realizing in doing that you improve the quality of life of all of these groups, right? That's my hot take opinion, but like I recognize that sometimes I'm an outlier in some of these things, but that is where Delegate Jackie Glass is coming from, and Jackie Hope Glass as a person is coming from. Is I understand that sentiment, and trying to, I feel like we look weak. And I don't know how we look so weak with someone so bad, right? Yesterday, when the government shut down, I immediately got 2 text messages for money from Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, right? My phone, once it shut down, like immediately I got text messages from them people. And I was like, how tone deaf are you to send me a text message? And it is not just me. I personalized it in that moment because it's me and I know how my family is affected. But how dare you send a text message? Where's my phone? And it was the weirdest thing. I was like, who is telling these people how to operate? It was a text message. And I don't know, did any of you guys get this text message asking for money? Did anybody of you get this text message? I got one from Repro Rights or somebody raising money. And I was just like, this is it is wild to just be like, give me money, and to have your picture out there like that. Like, I'm trying to find it, but it was so, let me look. Did anybody get that text message? Yeah, September 30th. No shit. Like, not even kidding. So it's Akeem Joshua. I'll cut to the chase. I'm about to ask you to renew your 2025 Democratic membership before the donation quarter ends. I want to level with you what's happening in the Capitol. And it just goes on. And here's the deal. Here's what I know as a politician is that it does take money It does take money. And I that's why I ask sometimes, if you believe in my leadership, go to delegatejackieglass.com and make a contribution, because it is, you don't get to lead in this. And this is the ugly side sometimes with politics, is you don't get to lead if you don't have a bank account. Like, that I mean, you have to be able to contribute more and more to the cause. Like, it is a pyramid scheme in its own right, right? Like, wholeheartedly, I get it. But right at the shutdown, bed, stop. That's not the tech. You like, show some fucking empathy. If you're affected, here's how we're trying to help you. Here's what we're trying. I didn't get any of that. Like, why are Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries sending me this text message right now? That is crazy. It's it's wild. Okay. And so that's where we're at. Let me go through the comments, because I see some of you guys have put resources, and I know, and then I'll get back over. Thank you so much. Nathan Sims, you all, is the leader over at NRHA, Navy Redevelopment Housing Authority. And he says, like, for constituents that live in the NRHA communities or participate in that housing choice voucher program, and your job is impacted by the current shutdown, please contact us to explore options, and assistance is available. That's what I'm talking about, y'all. That's the doer-ish that we have to do, right? That's it right there. Right there. Spend that privilege. Like I got a microphone, I'm telling you. So, like, y'all know, if anybody, and guess what? You might be living next to somebody that's in a housing choice voucher program and don't even know it, because we got to do better at talking to our neighbors, right? And not shaming folks for using government assistance to get better. My neighbor, who had some assistance during COVID, 10 kids, decided, you know what? I'm going to start my transportation business. I don't care. It's COVID, and started that business, has scaled that business. Every time I see one of her trucks around town, because I see them all the time, I go, that's my girl. That's my homie. And she got that because she got the home. She used the home, God, I'm just missing my brain. She used assistance to get the down payment to get a house, and is doing the damn thing. David James says that David James, you're always commenting. It's not you. Brian Daniels says Navy Federal Credit Union. Okay, so if you got Navy Federal Credit Union, if the shutdown occurs, eligible members will be able to register for Paycheck Assistance Program starting Friday, September 26th. That's past Friday, via Navy Federal's mobile app or website to ensure coverage for the first impacted pay period. The credit union will continue to share updates and additional resources as needed. And he also said 0% APR. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Brian. Appreciate you. Hold on, I'm looking, I'm going through. Oh, I appreciate you guys. I'm grateful too. I'm trying to spend this time. I'm taking longer time today because I think it's necessary as we resource each other during this shutdown, and we got to figure out who the heck we are. To David James' point, who are we? Spirit Away, do you really think we have an election? We will have an election year. I'm voting today to save off tampering of my vote if I wait till later. Yes, I do believe we'll have an election next year. I do believe, but we also, here's what I think we also have to do is, if you have not done this, you are so powerful and you don't even know it. You got to email your Congress folks. Tell them how you want them to fight. Right. And I don't envy the work and the role of congressional folks, because that is hard work, but they are sometimes so deep into the bubble, like so deep into like Washington, or so deep in, like, even your delegates or senators. Tell them how you want them to show up. Email them. Put the pressure on us, right? This is how I want you to show up. Okay. This is how I want you to show up, because they're looking. I can tell you, some of them are looking for the language and don't know, because again, we've had leadership that is kind of disconnected from the other generations, and they don't know. So tell them how they can show up. Especially if you're worried about the elections and things like that, say, look, you need to talk about this authoritarian regime. You need to, they should be galvanizing us on all of this. Like this moment right now. So I'm telling you right now, community, the biggest thing, it's the people, it's the paycheck, but it's also the power. This is a power grab, and we need to identify, and we are not. And here's unpopular opinion, and I'm going to say it, and I know that it's an unpopular opinion. I know it. Is that if we, I might get in trouble. Not from anybody, but just, I'm just trying to stay on task while also plugging my plugging my computer in. This government shutdown may have to last a bit for people to understand how serious this is. You understand? You get what I'm saying? Like, again, our exceptionalism has gotten in our way, and we think we're just going to be Gucci. And I'm telling you, for some people, for many Americans to wake up, they need a huge shock to the system. And they need, like, and 9/11 woke us the fuck up, right? I don't want a 9/11. I also don't want an extended government shutdown because I am directly affected by it. Okay. But what I do know is that it doesn't hurt bad enough for some people. Apathy is winning the war, and apathy will keep winning until people see how deeply affected we are. Like, I need the Dems to hold strong because I want, to your point, Spirit in One, is I want to continue to have elections. I want to continue to live in a constitutional democratic republic. And as I said before, there were systems that needed the work. And now we need to be a part of building them back up. I think I talked about this last week, but I'm not playing. I want to still be able to select my elected officials. I do not want a king. I do not want a regime. I don't want any of that. We've seen the playbook. It's been run before. So absolutely, I think we're going to be able to vote next year because I hope people wake up to include present company included and politicians. We have control. They have control of the House and Senate, so why blame the Democrat? Oh, well, listen, it doesn't matter. You can shame, like, it's about narrative, right? They can blame and blame and blame. And I think the Democrats got to come with a bigger fight. Hold on a second. Just got to be tougher at it. It's got to be. Just got to be tougher at that fight, right? That's what we got to do. ISIS run around like Nazis. Absolutely. Appreciate you on Thursday. Thank you. It won't help bills, but there's a program, My 2K Foundation. They give out free after school food programs in Youngs Park. That does help, right? In Youngs Park, there's My 2K, and shout out to the folks over at My 2K. I appreciate you. Free food after school in Youngs Parks. Shane Castle says, but it being about healthcare is also enough. It's huge for our family. Can't even afford the current premiums and have to use credit. And we are about to lose what we have, and and what we will double. Yeah. I respectfully, remember I said we can disagree on policy, but we can disagree on policy, but we can agree on processes. I think healthcare is huge. I don't think it's all the things. I think there's so much to this. I think we have to hold in our hands that every single system is being challenged. The very way we operate is being challenged because of a tearing down of our constitutional democratic republic. That for you, Shan, absolutely, healthcare is so important. For the next person, what's absolutely important? Being able to get a home loan. For the next person, what's absolutely important? The education systems. Each of you guys could have those things and not be affected by the other, right? You may be like, I already own a home and my kids go to an amazing school. And they may be like, well, I got great health insurance and I got great health insurance and my schools are great. Like, you understand, the thing about that is uniting us right now is that everything we believe in, everything that we have, relies on this constitutional democratic republic being able to operate in discourse, right? It relies upon that. Okay. Like, if we lose this, then there's no even having conversations about healthcare and about, like, we have to hinge on those things because they're important. But I believe it is a yes, and you cannot have one without the other. Because again, we go back to a subset of people, right? And you can tell me for however many Americans this is going to affect. If I'm not one of those Americans and I don't have a big heart, or I'm just trying to live my life, which I'm just trying to live my life. We have done this to ourselves as there's a level of disconnect that we have to other people's issues, right? If it don't affect me, then it don't affect me. So that's why I'm saying is that we've got to hold more than healthcare in our hands. We've got to understand people that we could lose the very existence of the way we operate if we don't take action, if we don't make it hurt and make it untenable for them to keep doing what they're doing. Spirit One says yes, and I'm sorry, Shan, if there's anything that we can do to be helpful, if there's anything that we can do to be supportive, like looking at some community clinics, looking at some things, like if you all for real, because it is a huge deal for a swath of Americans, if you have healthcare resources or anything, drop them in the chat, share them so that we can share, because we do need to do that. There's a lot of folks being affected by it, like Shan. And Shan, thank you for sharing, because a lot of people don't have the vulnerability to say, look, my premiums are going up. I have to use credit. We're about to lose everything we have, right? Like that is, you should not be in that situation. We should not even be fathoming this. We should be saying, all right, here's how we're moving from here. So I am sorry. I am sorry. It's a bit, and it is a big deal, and I'm not diminishing it. Yes, they sent emails as well. Hold on. I got to plug in, y'all, or I'm going to die. Okay. There we go. All right. So David James says, I feel like we're losing because of simple locality quality of life issues, trash, loud music, crime. I've been surprised how many people actually want the feds coming here. Yeah, that's real too. And that starts with your local government, right? Being able to get the localities. It all starts in your backyard. It all does. All of it starts in your own backyard. So that, or on your block. And I hate to say backyard because your backyard implies seclusion. Your block. Do you know the people on your block? And if trash is not being taken out, if you're in the city of Norfolk, have you told them about the My Norfolk app, right? Have you talked to them about the Department of Neighborhood engagement? Like that is the thing, Doers. We have to resource our block and make them understand that it's good living here. We got big problems, but the lower level thing, not lower, excuse me, the things closer to us can be taken care of while we fight for the things that feel further away. Several text messages, delete them. Does Congress still get paid? So I think what I said about that was it's tricky. It's tricky because I like their staffers are a little bit different from them. I'm not sure if they I need to double check what I need to double check. We got the look. Okay, I'm going to double check and look, and I'll let you know. Sandcastle, missing humanity and compassion. Yeah. Y'all see Trump's posts bragging about his social media numbers. It's gross. Yep. It is gross. The short answer to does Congress members still get paid during the shutdown is yes. What it is that their salaries are funded by what's called a permanent appropriation and protected by the 27th Amendment, which says that Congress's pay can't be changed in the middle of a term, so their checks don't stop automatically. The nuance to that is that some members ask to escrow their pay or they donate it, but that's voluntary and mostly symbolic, to be fair. The thing that really consider is the people that actually get to touch and help you. That's congressional staff. I'm nothing without my staff. My staff hold it down. They're different. They can be furloughed or worked without pay, depending on the chamber's rules and the funding, just like federal employees. And so I know that the optics are rough, the process. The optics are extremely rough. The boss's pay continues while a lot of the workers get furloughed or unpaid. Yeah, for real. All right. Yeah, we got to get better on that. They really stand by. She said, I love Bobby, Tim, and Mark. They really stand for Virginians. They're trying. Yep. We actually fix problems. Yep, I just said that. Like here in Virginia, we actually fix problems. We just go overboard 2 times. David James says, we actually fix problem. We just go overboard too much sometimes. Vanberg is talking about cutting red tape over burdensome regulations concerning housing construction. We go for too far. I love it. We be trying. We be out here trying. I didn't know about this event. Daniel, you said, will I be at Maker's Craft tonight? Can you send me that information? Because I don't know about it. Or I'll look at if it's on a page or something, send me the link or whatever, and I'll check it out. I won't say 100% that I know I can tonight, but if I have bandwidth, I will do my best to show up. I appreciate that. Last comment, and then we're going to get this show on the road. Kevin, hey, Kevin. Kevin says Virginia's primary source for individuals and families impacted by government shutdown is 211. I love 211. 211 is amazing, which provides referrals for our food, housing, utility, and other services. State level programs like the VEC. If you have issues with the VEC, don't forget that your state representatives, your state senator, your state delegate, we are the go-between for that. So help us. We don't call us in if you need us. Be self-directed, be empowered to help yourself. But if you've run into issues, let us know. But the VEC can also assist with federal employees and contractors with unemployment claims. The 211 also does general assistance referral. That it is one of the most, and he is absolutely right, Kevin is exactly right. It's one of the most comprehensive resource offerings. It's 24/7 information and referral service that you can access for help statewide. Yep. Boom, shakalaka. Boom. That is a great way to end it, because that is how we keep this together. That is the so what now what, right? So what now what? Y'all can't control the calendar, but we can control our preparation. Let's go. Let's have the conversation. Let's do it together. We can't print money, but we can protect each other, right? We don't have to agree on policy, but we must agree on the process and on people's dignity. Can we do that? Can we do that? All right. Your homework, you better get it done, son, man, or get it done, right? Your homework is to get one verified resource. Kevin already did his homework. Go, Kevin. So did Brian. Brian already did his work. Kevin, Brian, and let me see, and Nathan, they did their work already. Put those things out there for you guys, right? Find a verified resource. Check on one person that might be impacted. And remember, you might have to look in the mirror. Please check in on yourself too. And just check in on them, and then maybe survive those resources. And then write down your top 3 bills for you, because we, Khalil even said it. Hey, are things going to go up? My insurance went up. Everything's going up. Yes. So the thing is what I want you to do is to write down your top 3 bills, and then who you'll call if that money stops. Okay. We are up. We are ready. We are in this together. I will see you in the comments. And as always, stay hydrated, participate, and do not hibernate on this. Okay. This is the morning dew. Out. Oh, Blessed, thank you. She did her homework. I love you getting it. The Catholic Charities Salvation Army will help with food, housing, and utility assistance for sure. Also, Unite Us. Unite Us. I'm putting this out there to everyone. It's a site called Unite Us. Unite Us. Unite Us. That has so many resources on it. So many resources on it. You got it. We can do it. Okay. Y'all make it a great day. Thank you. Check out the commissions. I love it, David James. Check out them boards, them commissions. Side note, remember how I said, if you love this kind of leadership, invest in it. Yeah, you can drop. Somebody gave me $5 last week, and I wanted to find them and hug them. But there are also candidates across the Commonwealth. This is a team sport, y'all. Shout out to Jessica Anderson, who is kicking ass over there in Williamsburg. She will be in the General Assembly. We just going to say it. I heard you were up by 1 point thereabouts. You come on, stay encouraged. Like I want us doers to get a better understanding of who's our squad, right? Who's your local squad? Who's your state squad? Most times you know who your federal squad is, but know who your state reps are. We are the middle child of governance doing the damn thing. Okay. The middle child of government's doing the daggone thing. All right. Until next time, I do appreciate you. Doers get more done. Doers get more done. Doers get more done. Don't sue me, Home Depot. All right. Be well. I'll catch y'all on the streets.